Hi, this is Nathan Cole from natesviolin.com, and I've titled this To Bounce or Not to Bounce. About off the string playing, and I'm assuming that since you found this video, you do want to bounce, whether you call it spiccato or sautier or just off the string playing. Now that title, of course, is a lame Hamlet joke, and that's why we find ourselves in the castle here. But there's actually more to the title than that. If you remember Hamlet's problem, he had so many courses of action, didn't know which one to take, didn't know what to do, or even whether or not to do anything. He was paralyzed. So I want your violin story to end up better than Hamlet's, and if you can't remember what happened to him, you should read the book. It's a pretty good one. I'm going to give you something simple that you can try right away, and for a lot of people, it solves their off-the-string issues pretty immediately. And even if it doesn't, it's still worth trying, worth working on, because it has some side benefits, and I'll get to those at the end. So try this, even if it doesn't work for you right away, stick with it, because you get those side benefits as well. Now this all goes back to the title, To Bounce or Not to Bounce, and for the moment, let's pick not to bounce. Because all the secrets of bowing, all the strokes, including off-the-string strokes, come from that simplest on-the-string stroke, détaché. So that's right, if you're a Suzuki kid, it's basic Twinkle 101, you know. All the other bow strokes we can derive from that simple stroke somehow. You can play around with bow speed, articulation. All the strokes come from that. Just as a quick demo, you know, you've got the faster bow, slower. You can add articulation or take it away. You can add spaces, or you can take it off the string, right? All the strokes come from that simple détaché. And that's going to be the key to our work today. We're going to look for the on-string equivalent to any off-string stroke we want, because there is an on-string equivalent no matter what sound variety you want from your off the string. And you might say, you know, I don't really care about a variety of sounds right now. I just want any spiccato at all to work. And that's totally fine. Let's get right to it. Let's take a middle-of-the-road spiccato, middle-of-the-road tempo, middle-of-the-road sound. Tempo about like that. That's where I'd like to land. Now I'm going to find the on-string equivalent. And here's the big rule when I do this and when you do it. The stroke has to connect completely. Okay, so there's a temptation when you're first trying this to play it short, because, you know, we want to end up with spiccato. Those are short notes. Maybe it seems to our hand like we need to play short notes on the string, but that's really not how spiccato works, is it? You know, you don't you don't play off the string like this, right? And stop the bow after each one, right? You can see very clearly that hand, that bow is always in motion, and therefore when we find the on the string equivalent, always has to be in motion. Not only that, but I want the same sound from end to end of the note. That means from the beginning of the note to the end, I want the same sound. I need it to connect. I'm doing it a little slower for the moment to make it easier to hear. Let's say that you heard. Now those bows connect. I mean, there's no space in between, but you can hear that every note has that shape. Instead, must connect completely. All right, so when I'm going to bring it back to the tempo that we wanted for our spiccato, which was somewhere around that. I have to find the best combination of the famous 3 variables for the kind of sound that I want. That's bow speed, bow pressure, and contact point. We've got our tempo set, right? We'll call it a basic, you know, happy sounding spiccato, call it mezzo forte or forte. And now I gotta hunt around for the best combination, right? So like, don't like that. Maybe I'll try moving my contact point around, maybe further out from the bridge. Okay, immediately that's bad. Further in. Okay, it's a little better, but still kind of pressed. Could be my bow pressure. Let me try less. Yeah, that's not as pressed, but it's kind of punticello. Let me move it back out a little bit. I'm kind of liking that. You got to keep hunting until you find the best combination. Or maybe not. Because if you heard me say 3 variables and kind of broke out in hives, or if you just want a refresher on the 3 variables, I have a great free guide for that. I've linked to it here. Because instead of hunting around, you know, if you really want to make this process faster, more efficient, more rewarding, you need to know how the 3 variables work together, how they interact, the speed, the pressure, the contact point. When you change one of them, you're going to have to change the others to match. And my free guide shows how it all works together. Go download it if you haven't already. Now, when we left the bow stroke, I just found a good combination. While I'm playing there, I'm going to stick with that for a little bit, and I'm going to notice my 3 variables, the speed, pressure, contact point. I don't exactly have to take notes or anything. I just have to feel how my arm and my hand are interacting with the bow. I might take a look down at my hand. How is my hand looking? How is the arm moving? What kind of path does it have? How do my fingers feel? How firm or loose are they? Because a lot of people actually find that their fingers are pretty firm playing this on the string stroke. They may be surprised to see or feel a different kind of fingers when they take that off the string. That can be a problem. So I want to absorb this feeling into my body, my memory, because we'll need it shortly. Now I'm going to take the bow a bit off the string. How high, that's the last piece of the puzzle we can experiment with, but for now try maybe an inch, maybe half an inch. I'm going to move the bow in the exact same way, starting on, now a bit off. That's about half an inch. It's going to be the same speed of bow, same amount of bow, same contact point. As for pressure, you see if you can replicate it. I mean, on the string, pressure can seem a little difficult to find an equivalent for off the string, but basically you're looking at the depth into the string. You do the best you can matching it. So we have this, and now it's great. My hand feels the same, contact point, speed, pressure, all just about the same. And just as I did, if you need a reminder of how that felt, what the contact point, any of that was, you simply go back on the string, then come off again. You can do that as many times as you want. That's a really great thing to do, actually. Now, I showed this working right away for me. If it doesn't work right away for you, chances are something is changing. Most likely, it's in your bow hand or bow fingers. As I mentioned before, you may find that when you take it off, suddenly the fingers get a little bit longer or looser, and they move a lot more. I want to look at, when I'm on the string, at how closely the bow is picked up to my hand. I play with the bow fairly well picked up close to my hand. I'm going to want that same look and feel when I'm off the string as well. And if I see those fingers dangling or moving around a lot more, I know that's been a change. You can also try a different height for your bounce. Different sounds may call for different heights. Different speed of spiccato will probably call for different heights. If I'm going for, that's naturally going to be a different height. I even have another video for that. That one's called Master Violin Spiccato at Any Speed. It talks about how the different speeds of spiccato may call for different heights. But generally, it's going to be within a fairly narrow range, and you get a feel for that according to your own arm and bow stick. So, again, if the sound is not quite matching for you yet, then you look at the 3 variables, see if any of those has changed. Amount of bow, that's a big one. Many people will instinctively use less bow when they come off the string. So even if, let's change the note, for goodness sake. Let's say I'm going for a sound like this. I find the on-string equivalent. You can see now how my hand is moving, about the distance. Some people, when they take that off the string, will try, and you can see very quickly, my hand is hardly moving horizontally at all, whereas here, it was really covering some ground. I need to match that when I take it off the string. So you may instinctively find yourself shrinking the bow when you come off the string. If that still doesn't solve it for you, look at your contact point, see if that's changed on you, and as well the bow pressure, as well as you can match that. It's easy to feel pressure when the bow's on the string, of course, because it's always in contact with the string, but as you take the bow off, you can start building a sense of depth. How far into the string are you bouncing the bow? That's kind of the equivalent of pressure. So now let's say we've got that sound, that middle of the road one, nice. Let's try a different sound, starting with the dynamic. So we have this one. Let's say I want it softer. I want it like this. How would I find that on the string? Well, I'm keeping most things the same, just basically using a little bit less bow for the softer one. And you'll often find to change the dynamic without changing the kind of sound, that's about what you want. So let me find that again. Here is the old one, the softer one. Now I'll take that off the string. It's pretty close to the string, but I like that. Hand is feeling about the same. Now, what if I like that soft dynamic, but I want it less clear, a little fuzzier, a little less direct? I might move the contact point out, right? Something like, that's a hazier sound, a little more flautando. I might even roll the bow stick away from me, right? Some people call that tilting the hair. I prefer to call it rolling the stick. Now, again, I want that same end-to-end sound, and I take it off the string. It's not going to come much off, but there's that off the string equivalent of that sound, which is perfect. Now, the real magic happens when you play actual passages. You put actual notes and the tempos that you need into this kind of work. And there's a huge variety of sounds here, as I said. You can find them all. You know, you've got the Beethoven 3 Scherzo, for example, if you're taking orchestra auditions. That kind of spiccato, pianissimo, not too direct. I can easily find that on the string. A little bit off. Same part of the bow, same everything. How about almost the complete opposite of that? The Tchaikovsky Concerto, the last movement with the... now this is a cold castle. My fingers aren't moving so well, but the... like that kind of stroke. How would I find that on the strings? Very aggressive, very loud. Yeah, about midway from bridge to fingerboard, very heavy into the string. Yeah, same. Great. And for something heavy but a little slower, I could think of there's a Rachmaninoff Symphony second violin excerpt that often comes up, and that one needs to sound here. And so that kind of sound, now I'm down low in the bow for a little slower tempo, but still that heaviness. Again, I can always go back on the string, off the string, alternate it to find the sound. Now, the side benefits I promised you, even if the spiccato is not cured right away, practicing these things on the string reveals if your left hand is even, fluid, everything that mine seems not to be at the moment here in this drafty Danish castle. Basically, it sees if your left hand is behaving properly. Because sometimes off the string problems are not really right hand problems at all. Sometimes the left hand is to blame. And when you practice on the string, it helps to solidify the sound in the passage. For example, string crossings are a lot easier to feel when your bow is staying in contact with the string. That Beethoven excerpt, for example, very easy to imagine and feel the motion of the arm going from string to string when I stay in contact there. Now, it's true that when you take a fast passage, for example, off the string, your coordination is going to be slightly different. It's going to be offset. Your left-hand fingers have to arrive slightly before the bow arrives. Actually, I have another video on that called Spiccato coordination. But if you have great coordination on the string, then it really should translate very well to off the string. And that's it. There's a whole world of possibilities sound-wise. You can explore them right away. And anything you can play on the string, you can find that off-string equivalent and vice versa. So you'll never have to ask to bounce or not to bounce again. You can always choose both. And I thank you so much for watching. If this was helpful, make sure you hit subscribe to my channel here. And let me know in the comments too. Any comments and questions, make sure to visit me too at natesviolin.com for a lot more free guides and exercises you can start using right away. Thank you.